Psychology at Sylvia Global Media. My name is Emily Bouchard. I'm the managing partner at Wealth Legacy Group. This is the Wealth Psychology show that Jamie Traeger Muni, PhD psychologist and founder of Wealth Legacy Group, and I have been doing for, gosh, about half a year now. Jamie is located in Israel and she's being treated for breast cancer. She's going through radiation right now. And I'm here in the States in Northern California, and our goal is to have a direct impact on the world around the whole conversation about money and wealth and what true wealth is in our lives. And we are really passionate about making sure that people lead truly rich lives. So that's what this show is about. And today's guest is really helping us focus on one of the key components of living a really healthy and wealthy life, in terms of if we don't have true health in our lives, no much amount of money in our bank accounts is going to matter. And I think that that's really in our awareness more so now than ever with Jamie battling breast cancer. We're really looking at, wow, we can use our money to make choices in our lives that can make a big difference and benefit us in many ways. And then there are other things that we need to look at in terms of how we move in the world and choices we make that are going to make the biggest, most lasting impact in terms of our physical well-being, our physical health, which is where true wealth starts. Because if you don't have your body, if you don't have your health, you don't really have access to anything. So that's one of the things we're really passionate about. And last week, gosh, it was just last week, I got to hear a really phenomenal author and speaker and presenter. Her name is Beth Greer, and she was speaking at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco, and I got to hear her firsthand and see her demonstration and talk about how she healed a tumor in her own body with natural means, and then also what she did in terms of her research. She's an investigative reporter and journalist, and she looked into what is it that we're doing to our bodies internally and externally and all around us that contribute to ill health in our lives. Beth Greer is the author of Supernatural Home, which is endorsed by Deepak Chopra and Ralph Nader, and she's a former president and co-owner of the Learning Annex. She is certified in Build It Green, Healthy Home and Workspace Technologies, and is a specialist in that. She's a Huffington Post columnist, and we're going to hear about her story about how she eliminated a sizable tumor in her chest without using drugs or surgery. And also want to make sure everybody knows that Beth, along with being an author and a speaker and just a great human being, is also a holistic wellness educator and is an environmental health advocate and a mother. And she's also been on CNN, ABC, NBC. And her work is around designing healthy work environments and corporate wellness programs, and also doing personalized in-home detox audits nationwide. And we're going to find out more about that and what that's about. Welcome, Beth Greer, to Wealth Psychology on Sylvia Global.
Oh, thank you, Emily. Hi. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yeah. You look great. You sound great.
Yeah. Good.
So,
So,
Beth, would you start off by telling us about how you found out that you had a tumor in your chest, and what was your immediate emotional response to it? Because wealth psychology is so much based in how we emotionally deal with what's impacting our lives, and want to talk about that a little bit, and then what you ended up doing.
okay. Well, gosh, about 10 years ago, I thought I was leading a healthy lifestyle. Like many of the people who are listening here, I was eating well. I thought I was watching my weight. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I was even meditating. And I was in a healthy, happy marriage. And I had a very successful business. So it came as this complete shock to me to discover that I had this tumor. I was in pain. I experienced a pain in my shoulder and my neck, and I went to my doctor, and he said, well, I think you have a herniated disc, so you should go get an MRI. So during the MRI process, they told me that they saw a mass, and it's like completely flipped out. It was just so shocking. And
Yeah, what did you do with that shock? Did you internalize it? Did you talk to people? When you say flipped out, I'd love to get a sense of that, because
so it
it's
was
such a shock to have that experience.
a Friday afternoon, I remember, and so they couldn't read the MRI until Monday, until because just the technician could read it, and he said, well, we think we see a mass there, but it's probably breast cancer. They wrote on this report. Um,
And then they
so
sent you home with that unknown uncertainty. Oh my
exactly. It was
gosh.
just unbelievable. But the thought that came to me was, what, what, this can't be happening to me. I'm such a healthy person. Like, how could I have a mass? Where did this come from? There's no cancer in my family. There are no tumors. And so, um, anyway, then I had a Monday morning, went in for a mammogram, and there was nothing in my breast. They discovered that it was actually deep inside my chest cavity. And so I went for a biopsy, a needle biopsy, and that was also a very harrowing experience because you're at the mercy of the doctors, the hospital, and you just don't know. You're just lying on the table. It's in this tube, because I was in it was a CAT scan. Anyway, so they came back and they said there's no cancer. It's a benign tumor, but it was the size of a tennis ball. It was it was this big, and it
And it
was
sounds like it was causing you distress. I mean, even though it wasn't like the kind of distress like, oh my God, this is life-threatening, it was painful and it was,
very
where did this
painful.
come from and what do I do about it?
It was the nerves were wrapped around it, so the pain was running down my arm, and my first three fingers were starting to get numb. So um, I just, of course, next step, make an appointment with surgeons to see what's going on. So I went to three top surgeons, and the first one wanted to cut me under my collarbone over here, and the second one wanted to cut under my armpit, and then the third one said, no, 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 we're going to cut from behind and remove one of your ribs.
Oh,
And I just thought, none of them could agree on how to get it out, but they all agreed that it was risky surgery, that I could lose the feeling permanently in my hand.
oh, now that must have stirred up some emotion and
Oh my
kicked you
God.
in some other directions.
Yeah. So, I just thought, okay, what can I do? And from my meditation practice, I just decided to get quiet, and I prayed for an answer, like what direction should I go in? And so the word that came to me when I got quiet was simplicity. And so I
Oh,
thought,
I want to jump in because Gail Sylvia Pullen, who started this network, really, really promotes this as well. And this whole notion of taking the time to listen to that still, quiet voice within. And we are strong proponents of that. And the fact that you already had a meditation practice really lended itself to that for you in a big way, because you
absolutely,
already had that access to be able to get quiet and still enough to listen and hear from that place within us that has this inherent knowing of what's right. And we've heard about it many times in different places and different books and different people. And what I'm wanting anybody who's tuning in to get is that we all have access to this. And there's all kinds of different practices to have access to this. So you got still and quiet and you heard your inner knowing. And it said to you, say it again, simplicity, simplify.
simplicity. Yeah, simplicity. So what did that mean to me? So I thought, okay, what can I simplify in my life that I have the direct contact over? And what occurred to me was food and drink. What am I eating and drinking? I had the most control over that. And so even though I thought I was eating healthy, I looked at some of the food that I was eating, and I discovered that I was eating processed food. There were foods with labels on it with words that I couldn't understand. I was eating out at restaurants a lot because I was working in the city and didn't have time to come home and cook. And so I decided to do something kind of radical, which was to eat food without any food labels whatsoever, to just eat real food. And so the first thing I did was, and even how to simplify that, go on a juice cleanse. So I went on pure vegetable juices. And I actually went down to a place called Optimal Health Institute down in San Diego. And they did the juicing for me, right? And in 3 days, I noticed that the pain that I was in started going away. It was shocking. You have to understand, I was in so much pain that I was taking sleeping pills at night because I couldn't find a comfortable position to lie down on. So I was kind of sitting up, sleeping in bed, and needed to knock myself out. And so after 3 days of juicing, I didn't need sleeping pills anymore. And I thought, hey, this is fantastic. I'm onto something here. I'm going to continue with this.
Now,
And
how did you find out about the Optimum Health Institute? And this is something that, people who have access to resources and have money in their bank accounts that they can put towards whatever they want, whether it's a new pillow on their sofa or going to the Optimum Health Institute. They have this capacity to make decisions about what they do with their money. How did you find out about that? And, was it a very affordable thing, or was it actually like, wow, this is a significant investment?
yeah, it was affordable. And it's so funny because I find that in my life there are synchronicities that happen. And so coincidentally, a girlfriend of mine, my friend Diane, months before said to me, hey, Beth, let's go down to the Optimal Health Institute for a week and just do a detox, relax and do a cleanse. And it was very affordable. It's run by a church and they make it available to people. It's not like a very high-end fancy place. Um, there's different kinds of accommodations. And so you can share a room with someone, you can have your own room, you could stay in a townhouse. So there's an assortment of options there. And it's also not that expensive because all you're really eating is juices. So they're not giving you luxurious 3 meals a day. But it was transformational for me. And in that, as I said, after just a few days, the pain started decreasing, and I realized that what a tremendous impact the food that we eat has on our bodies. And so after a week there, I came home and decided to continue this cleanse and decided to eat raw food because that was what the protocol was there. It was like 5 days of juicing and then 2 days of raw vegetables and sprouts. So
Well,
I,
I think that what we're going to do now is like we've whet people's appetite, and I think our next segment needs to talk about very specifically what we put in our bodies and how what you put in your body seemed to make such a dramatic impact on this mass that you had in your body, and also what other benefits you got as a result to changing what you put in your body.